Homicide is the leading cause of death for African American males between age 15 and 34, and it's the second leading cause of death for Hispanic males in that same age group. In this movie, we explore attitudes toward violence, starting with our own.
Have you ever walked away from a fight?
No.
Why is that?
Because if you step to me, then you just gotta get beat. I'm not gonna walk away and make myself look bad. So,
Is it self-pride or is it just you want to fight?
it's a name to uphold.
I don't like walking away from fights. It makes me feel like I'm a chicken.
Me personally, no.
Why not?
Because not that many people mess with me, and when they do, it's not a good outcome. So.
Have you ever walked away from a fight?
No.
Why not?
Because the way I was raised, somebody hit you, you hit them back.
You value your reputation more than you fear the consequences of fighting. Now let's hear from a few people that acknowledge the consequences of fights.
As a person who had been through all of that it was very important for me to give back and for me to try to stop other young people from going through the life that I had, because all my friends, every last one of them, are still in jail and they are never coming home. They either kill somebody or they sold enough drugs that they got life imprisonment.
Went out one evening with the guys. They got into a simple argument, simple fight. He hits the kid, right? There was nothing to the punch, but the kid falls, hits his head on the curb, and he dies. That's what people don't realize. Girls, one of the things girls idolize the most is their beauty. I look like this, I look like that. But what happens when they're getting into fights? They're scratching faces, all right? I've seen box cutters being used, all right? Why? Why take a chance of being disfigured because of gossip? You know it's not true. You know you didn't say it, all right? And one thing you have to realize too, that in school especially, there's a lot of resources you could turn to.
When that knife comes out, or that punch gets swung, and it hits you the wrong way, and it knocks your neck, and it breaks your neck, just like that, what happens is that you're the one on the gurney in the emergency room attached to a ventilator, and you can't breathe for the rest of your life. So what happens then is the cycle goes on that you can't breathe on your own, move on your own, eat on your own, and you're just attached to this breathing machine, the respirator, and that's your existence for the rest of your life, because you can only move as far as that tube will let you go. So whether it's laying in the bed, and remember you can't move, or in a chair, but you can't move there because people have to move you and people have to feed you now and change you, and sometimes you can't digest food anymore, so you can't eat food anymore. So all the pleasures of your life are gone, all of them.
In 2011, the most recent year for which we can find data, over 700,000 young people between ages 10 and 24 were treated in emergency rooms for injuries that they got while fighting. How many of you know someone who was crippled or in a wheelchair because of a fight?
There are many real men who walked away from fights. Let's hear their stories.
When I was in high school, I remember this guy came up to me one time. He told me my mother was a W. We all know what that is, right?
Oh.
So I just simply looked at him and said, is she? Is she any good? He couldn't say anything after that. So sometimes you have to be smart about your approach to conflict. You don't have to get into a conflict. You don't have anything to prove to anyone but yourself. And by being a wise and smart person, you walk away from a conflict. The only time a conflict should ever ensue is if someone's going to be physically hurting you. Other than that, words, let them roll up your back and keep walking.
Yes, I have walked away from a fight. And he wanted to fight me. So it's around like 6th period in school. We coming back from gym. We walking, talking, yeah. And I see because he wasn't talking to me till the whole day, come up behind me and like try to get a cheap shot, and he pushed me into the locker. And he was like, oh, you didn't want to fight me before, but you want to fight me now. So everybody was like, ooh, Philip's not going to fight. Philip's not going to fight. So I don't feed into peer pressure, and I don't feed into hype, and I've been doing this since a very young age. And I ended up walking away, and everybody ended up calling me a punk. But in the long run, 3 weeks later passed, and that kid, he ended up getting jumped and ended up getting kicked out of school because he started to fight alone in the same situation. So what I learned from that experience was that it's not cool to fight. It's not right to fight. If someone feels some type of way, let them feel that type of way. Just ignore it and walk away.
Best thing to do is to speak to the person privately. Just you and that person really talking it out, you know, and then you're both sincere in what you're trying to accomplish, which is whatever that difference is, whatever that conflict is.
I'm a bad dude. And but I had a gun in my mouth. I'm a bad dude. But, you know, I'm only here because I stopped thinking like you. I was like, you know what? It ain't about my rep, man. It's about me staying alive. That's what it's all about. I'm gonna live another day for me to maybe have a rep that day I was a punk. Yeah, I was a punk that day. And I gotta be honest with you. I've had some of them dudes right there talking that stuff to me for a couple of years. They was trying to see me, oh, you punk, you know, punk one. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? And you know where they at now? They're locked up. And I'm a program director, I'm a personality, I'm all over the community, I'm on television, I got kids coming to talk to me, blah, 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 blah. It's a beautiful thing, right? But you know, I chose to rather be a punk about it so I could live.
Judging by the research that we've done now, and like, I see it's basically pointless to fight when it's really not necessary, you know? It's just, if you can't get your words across, just walk away. It's not worth it.
Unless the person's trying to harm you, then you can fight. But other than like that, you know, arguing and then it leading to a fight, that's pointless.
Conflict is not worth it anymore.
It takes that second to change your life. That second to change your life. If you just rewound and said, you know, I'm walking away. I'm putting the knife down. Guys, let's go. Walk away.